There's nothing that needs to be hidden. Just say it straight, and Tianzuo said indifferently without looking at Qiao Sichuan. Qiao Sichuan's heart skipped a bit, aware that there was likely no way of conciliating the matter today. Overseer, Liz and the rest were just acting under orders from our people higher up. This matter has nothing to do with them. Can they be sent to the hospital? Qiao Sichuan drew a deep breath and said. Who are the people higher up? And Tianzuo continued asking with the same expression. Overseer, you should have heard of Jing Daoxian, right? The League's vilest criminal. Qiao Sichuan continued. Jing Daoxian slaughtered many high-ranking members of the League at the League government office. It halved our League's strongest combat strength and set back our overall strength by 10 years. The Senate has always placed the utmost importance on Jing Daoxian. Over the years, the League has been trying all means to pursue him. Our Special Investigation Bureau has also been putting in great efforts towards this cause. Just a few days ago, we discovered that Jing Daoxian had interacted with Zhou Wen. Oh, so are you implying that Zhou Wen is in cahoots with Jing Daoxian? And Tianzuo shot Qiao Sichuan a look. Qiao Sichuan shook his head and said, we are still unable to confirm if they are in cahoots, therefore we wanted to invite Zhou Wen back to assist in our investigations. Overseer, you are of noble birth, but the responsibilities you bear are unimaginable to the typical person. It's not easy for you nor the Yin family. Why should you burden yourself with nagging tongues because of a huge problem like Jing Daoxian? Besides, didn't you once criticize Zhou Wen and say that there was a problem with him? So are you saying I should thank you? And Tianzuo asked. Not at all. Overseer, I'll just be extremely grateful if you can understand where we are coming from. Qiao Sichuan felt more and more uneasy as he forced a smile. And Tianzuo looked at Qiao Sichuan with a faint smile. I did criticize Zhou Wen and I do find him a sore sight. But how I criticize or bully him is down to my whims. Did I say that any Tom, Dick, and Harry could bully him? Qiao Sichuan's expression instantly changed. He forced a smile and said, Overseer, you're absolutely right. We'll definitely change for the better. We will definitely inform you of any operations that involve the Yin family in the future. Not a bad attitude. All right, I'm not an unreasonable person. Since you have said this much, I'll spare their lives, and Tianzuo said. Thank you, Overseer. I'm truly grateful. Feel free to issue me orders if there's anything you need of me, Qiao Sichuan quickly said. They can be spared from death, but not punishment. Otherwise, wouldn't any Tom, Dick, and Harry come to Luong to do as they please? Are the League's laws to be flouted? And Tianzuo spoke another sentence, one that was completely different from the previous one. Qiao Sichuan long knew that Tianzuo wouldn't let this matter rest easily as he grumbled inwardly, you are the one who's best at flouting the League's laws. You can take them back with you, but cripple them of their cultivation to prevent them from using it to run amok, and Tianzuo said casually. Liz was horrified when she heard that as she yelled crazily, no. No. You can't cripple me of my cultivation. Qiao Sichuan's expression changed drastically as he said through gritted teeth, they were just obeying orders and there's nothing wrong with that. Overseer, if you were to punish them, what does this make of the Senate? You should also know the League's present situation. The President and the Senators have spared no effort dealing with matters regarding Jing Daoxian. If you were to implicate yourself in this matter, wouldn't it give a great opportunity to those people who are watching you and eyeing the Yin family's primordial gold mine? Liz's father is Senator Cape. If you give Liz a chance, Senator Cape and the entire Cape family will be very grateful. In the future, he will definitely help the Yin family at congressional meetings. A thought separates heaven from hell. Overseer, sir, you must think about it carefully. And Tianzuo looked at Qiao Sichuan in contempt and said, Qiao Sichuan, do you know why my name is Tianzuo? I'm afraid not. Please tell me, I'm all ears. As the saying goes, heaven one is on the right and hell is on the left. And I incline towards the left too, and Tianzuo said indifferently. Ah. Liz let out a painful cry as the adjutant drew an exquisite knife, stabbing into her primordial energy sea. Blood stained the hand holding the knife, turning the white gloves red. Remember, Luong belongs to the Yin family. And Tianzuo looked forward as his car windows wound up, slowly hiding his face. At this moment, Zhou Wen was hurriedly sneaking out of Sunset College via the back door. Li Xuan had given him two suggestions. One was to head to the Yin family to seek their help in settling this matter. The second suggestion was to immediately hide in unknown dimensional zones, never to appear again. Zhou Wen never wanted to have any relationship with the Yin family, therefore he decided to flee into the dimensional zones. With the mysterious phone, unknown dimensional zones weren't too dangerous for him. He planned on escaping to the nearest, Dragon Gate Grotto. There were many dimensional zones in its vicinity that humans had yet to explore to date. However, just as he left Sunset College's back door, he saw a young, refined-looking military officer standing there in a military uniform and white gloves. Young Master Wen, Madam has gotten Overseer to take you home for dinner. As the young officer smiled, he revealed 2 rows of neat, white teeth emitting a warm, comforting glow like the sun in spring. When Zhou Wen sat inside the car, beside him was the person whose name he knew but had never met before in Tianzuo. They had never met and had no ties in the past. But now, there was a particular relationship between them, making the mood rather delicate. You must hate me, right? And Tianzuo suddenly asked. Zhou Wen never expected him to say this. However, he wasn't someone with a high EQ, so he replied, I wouldn't call it hate, but I definitely ain't fond of you. Very good. This is what I want to say to you. I have never believed that you have the qualifications to replace little Jing. It has been that way in the past, the present, and will be so in the future, and Tianzuo's gaze was peeled to the front as he spoke without expression. You are talking about In Jing. How did I replace her? Zhou Wen asked with a frown. And Tianzuo didn't reply but said indifferently, I really don't understand why my mom believes you are better than little Jing. A man who only knows how to escape reality when encountering something doesn't have the right to be called a man, much less be better than little Jing. I think you should visit a doctor and check if you have a screw loose in the head. Zhou Wen felt that In Tianzuo was definitely crazy as he spoke in a completely baffling manner. The adjutant, who was driving the car, couldn't help but twitch when he heard Zhou Wen. 1. Tian in Tianzuo's name can be interpreted as heaven. 2. Zuo in Tianzuo's name is a homophone to left. Article 87 of 1597. Chapter 87 Special Physical Condition. This was Zhou Wen's second time at the In family home. Although In Tianzuo didn't like him, what had that got to do with him? Zhou Wen sat beside Ouyang Lan and focused on eating. He had a great time chatting with Ouyang Lan. And Tianzuo and In Jing sat opposite him and focused on eating as well as though they couldn't see him. After dinner, Zhou Wen planned on bidding them farewell and leaving when Ouyang Lan pulled Zhou Wen's hand and said, Don't be in a rush to leave. Have a walk with me. Zhou Lingfeng got up and was about to accompany them when Ouyang Lan said with a smile, It's rare for Tianzuo to return. Help me nag him to get married and have children so that he can carry on the family line. Also, teach him how to coax women. You are the best at that. Zhou Lingfeng said with a bitter smile, Can you not sully my reputation when you're getting me to help? This is me praising you, Ouyang Lan said with a giggle as she headed out while holding Zhou Wen's hand. The In family home was really big and beautiful. As they walked on the stone trail inside the garden, Ouyang Lan said, Little Wen, there's something troublesome that I took the liberty of pushing the matter on you. Can you help me? What is it? Zhou Wen asked in surprise. Ouyang Lan sat on a bench by the side of the lawn and said in thought, When you were in school, you must have heard of the story of the 6 League heroes, right? He nodded. It's how humanity first slew a mythical creature. It was also them who established the League government and ended the darkest and most chaotic period of humanity. Ouyang Lan said with a smile, Establishing the League government is real, but it's not necessarily true that darkness and chaos were ended. Zhou Wen's knowledge of this was limited to his textbooks, so he waited silently for Ouyang Lan to continue. Currently, the League appears to be stable and flourishing, but there are dark undercurrents surging. Something can happen anytime that develops into a cataclysm for human society, Ouyang Lan said with a sigh. Is the cataclysm related to dimensional creatures? Zhou Wen asked. The dimensional zones restrict the region of activity of dimensional creatures, but no one knows how long such restrictions can last. However, this isn't the most pressing cataclysm at the moment. Ouyang Lan paused before continuing, in fact, the greatest cataclysm now is humanity itself. The 6 League heroes established the League and on the surface it promotes democracy and freedom, but in fact, the ones in true power are the Senate and President. And the selection of these people comes from the families of the 6 League heroes. Therefore, the League is in fact no different from an autocracy. And an autocracy needs absolute central power. But in this era, to have absolute rule clearly isn't an easy task. At the very least, the families of the 6 League heroes do not have the absolute strength to control all of the Earth League. Even though they have been working hard for a number of years, it's noticeable from the outcome that their control over the League is constantly weakening. Currently, the League is more of a fragmented nation with rival factions. Upon saying that, Ouyang Lan cast her gaze on Zhou Wen and asked with a smile, Do you know why the League remains stable and doesn't completely collapse despite reaching such a state? I don't, Zhou Wen said with a shake of his head. That's because, in the League, only the families of the 6 League heroes have experts at the mythical stage. Zhou Wen was surprised. Isn't it said that no one in the League has broken through to the mythical stage? If one relied on themselves, it's true that no one has been able to break through to the mythical stage, but there's a shortcut that allows humans to first obtain mythical companion beasts and then by nurturing them, use their powers to advance to the mythical stage. That's why mythical experts are born amongst the families of the 6 League heroes, Ouyang Lan said. Then what's the shortcut? Zhou Wen asked curiously. You were chased into Small Buddha Temple by the Inspection Bureau. You should have seen the stone monument and temple hall. Engraved on the stone monument was a primordial energy art. If you can master it, you can enter the temple hall and directly receive the mysterious powers from the dimension, thus obtaining a mythical companion beast. Really? Then as long as Small Buddha Temple is controlled, wouldn't we be able to obtain a mythical companion beast just like the families of the 6 League heroes? Zhou Wen said, feigning surprise. Ouyang Lan shook her head. It's not that simple. To master the primordial energy art on the stone monument, one needs a special physique. And people with such bodies are 1 in a billion. In a place like Small Buddha Temple, there are far more than 1 or 2 that have been discovered in the League. However, the number of people who can truly master the mysterious primordial energy art is a pathetic number. The 6 heroes all had special physiques. Furthermore, they found the mysterious lands that matched their bodies and mastered the mysterious primordial energy arts, obtaining their mythical companion beasts. After a pause, Ouyang Lan continued, however, the special physiques of their bodies weren't innate, but obtained from a mysterious dimensional zone. There are still mysterious creatures inside it that can make other humans obtain special physiques like the 6 heroes, thus obtaining a chance to acquire a mythical companion beast. With such a place, the hero families probably do not wish to share it with others, right? Zhou Wen asked. Ouyang Lan curled her lips. If they have the strength to suppress the entire league, they naturally won't share it with others. Unfortunately, even if they have mythical experts, it's only limited to a few people. To suppress the massive Earth League is impossible. Besides, there are terrifying enemies overseas, beyond the League's jurisdiction. The hero families can't just put all their efforts on their own members. Enemies overseas. Zhou Wen was puzzled. The Earth League only controls the land. Overseas, there are other human factions in existence. I'll tell you about them in detail in the future. To prevent the League from fracturing, the hero families have given the bigwigs of the various lands certain candidate spots, allowing the descendants of these bigwigs to have a chance of entering such mysterious lands. They will vie with the descendants of hero families for the chance to obtain special physiques. This temporarily stabilizes the League's peace on the surface. As for the Yin family, it possesses one such spot. Don't tell me you gave me the spot. Zhou Wen suddenly realized something as he looked at Ouyang Lan in disbelief. She nodded and said, that spot was meant for little Jing, and with her talent and capabilities, she had a very high chance of obtaining a special physique. Unfortunately, she was born with an ailment. As her mother, I don't wish for her to take further risks. Therefore, I wish for you to replace little Jing in this competition and obtain the special physique, thereby obtaining a mythical companion beast. I will need to ask for your forgiveness for changing our nominee to you without obtaining your permission. Furthermore, it can't be changed again. Ouyang Lan patted Zhou Wen on the head and said with a smile, you don't have to feel too pressured. I never planned on sending in Jing to begin with, so this spot would have been a waste. That's why I changed it to you. So don't worry if you aren't willing to go. Article 88 of 1597. Chapter 88 Entering Tiger Cage Pass again. Why didn't you give the nomination to Tianzuo? Zhou Wen asked after some thought. Ouyang Lan said with a smile, because he's too strong. It's useless sending him. Zhou Wen didn't understand what Ouyang Lan meant. However, he had a general idea. Perhaps the obtaining of a special condition limited one's evolutionary level. Why did you give me the nomination? Zhou Wen wasn't silly enough to believe that this nomination would be for nothing. Even if Tianzuo and Jing couldn't do it, the Yin family could use this nomination to exchange for immense benefits. Many famous and noble families would be very interested in this nomination spot. Taking 10,000 steps back, the Yin family could always give the spot to another collateral relative. It was a big family clan, so it would be easy for it to find someone suitable. Ouyang Lan looked at Zhou Wen and said, Little Wen, whether you believe it or not, since I've married Lingfeng, we should accept each other's children. I'll treat you as my own child. Of course, Tianzuo and little Jing are my children, so my feelings for them go far deeper than yours. If all three of you were to encounter danger together, I'd definitely prioritize saving them. But other than that, I'll do my best as a mother. There's no need for you to do that. Zhou Wen was actually quite fond of Ouyang Lan's style. She said, you don't have to feel psychologically burdened. This is just a thought of mine that I won't force on you. If you wish, this family's door is forever open to you. If you aren't willing, I won't get others to disturb you. Everything is up to you to choose. Do you really believe that I can obtain the special physique? Zhou Wen still found it inexplicable why Ouyang Lan was so confident in him. Even someone as outstanding as Jing wouldn't have absolute confidence, and with Zhou Wen not yet having advanced to the legendary stage, he was far inferior to Jing to others. Ouyang Lan smiled as she raised her phone and opened the Photos app. She opened up a photo that had a refined, bespectacled old man on it. Do you know him? Ouyang Lan pointed at the elderly man in the photo and asked. He's the former principal, Zhou Wen said in surprise. Back in Guide High School, he had been very taken care of by the former principal. As Zhou Wen spent most of his time living alone, he seldom returned home when he was in high school. He even spent the weekends arduously cultivating. Whilst doing this, he would often encounter the former principal. Over time, they built up quite a relationship. The former principal had even invited him over to his place for meals. Later, the former principal had to retire early due to his ailing physique. Back when he left, Zhou Wen had planned on sending him off, but the former principal refused. He claimed that he hated such scenes the most. Ever since then, Zhou Wen never met him. It had almost been a year. It was he who told me that you're excellent, far better than little Jing. Although I'm not fully in agreement with that, you must be excellent since he says so, Ouyang Lan said with a smile. What's your relationship with the former principal? Zhou Wen looked at Ouyang Lan and asked politely. He, Ouyang Lan blinked craftily before saying, is my father. Ah. Zhou Wen widened his eyes as he looked at the photo and back at Ouyang Lan. They did share some resemblances. After Zhou Wen returned to the school's dormitory, he still found it incredible. The woman his father had married happened to be the former principal's daughter. Ouyang Lan told him not to worry further. The Special Inspection Bureau wouldn't find fault with him in the future under the premise that he didn't leave Luong. She also told Zhou Wen that he could attempt cultivating the Sun Strafe art that Jing gave him. The Sun Strafe art also came from a mysterious land, however, it had been modified to a simplified version that could be cultivated even without special physiques. In fact, the famous primordial energy arts, like the invincible Kanate divine art, all had similar origins. However, the simplified versions were inferior to the original versions. They lacked the capability of obtaining mythical companion beasts. Although the simplified versions were a lot weaker than the original versions, they were still far stronger than the typical primordial energy art. Ouyang hoped that Zhou Wen could master the Sun Strafe art to increase his chances when he vied for the special physique and mythical companion beasts. Even if he wasn't concerned about these two factors, cultivating such a high-level primordial energy art only brought benefits. Zhou Wen didn't make his decision on whether he would be vying for the special physique, but he did plan on taking a look at the Sun Strafe art. It wasn't that he didn't wish to cultivate the Sun Strafe art, but since the primordial energy art came from lands of mystery like the Small Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, Zhou Wen wished to know if the Lost Immortal Sutra had any effect on these primordial energy arts. Having had the USB drive in his possession for so long, this was the first time he was seriously reading the contents. The Sun Strafe art was indeed a high-level primordial energy art, far greater than ascetic meditation. After reading the entire Sun Strafe art, nothing happened to the Lost Immortal Sutra in him. It wasn't like when he had read the Small Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, in which the Lost Immortal Sutra would automatically switch to the Small Perfection of Wisdom Sutra's circulation method. Could it be that I need to see the original scriptures for it to be of use? Zhou Wen guessed inwardly. Zhou Wen put away the USB drive and was about to use his phone to grind the Tiger Cage Pass dungeon when Li Xuan came to him. The Yin family has settled the problem for you. The Special Inspection Bureau won't dare come again. You can rest easy now. Isn't it about time we complete the test mission Counselor Wang gave us? Li Xuan said with a grin. All right, after some thought, Zhou Wen agreed. After all, they didn't have much time left. It wasn't a bad idea to complete the test mission now. Although Wang Fei had said that they could kill the demonized general in a team of 4, Li Xuan and Zhou Wen had no intention of recruiting others. Just the two of them were good enough. Sunset College was so large that news of yesterday's ongoings on hadn't spread to the others. Those who knew Zhou Wen and what had happened were even fewer. Amongst those students, they didn't react differently when they saw Zhou Wen either. Zhou Wen and Li Xuan were walking towards Tiger Cage Pass when they suddenly heard a commotion up ahead. Then, they saw many students running back. A few of them were running and shouting, "Run! There's a word engraved demonized general ahead. It's rushing over here." As the strategy had specially mentioned that even legendary stage experts were not necessarily able to defeat word engraved demonized generals, none of the freshmen dared to take risks. All of them fled for the Tiger Cage Pass Dimensional Zone's exit. We sure have bad luck. To think that a word engraved demonized general would appear. Let's head back now and wait until the school eliminates it before coming back. Although Li Xuan was arrogant, he knew where to draw the line. Article 89 of 1597. Zhou Wen naturally didn't mind. Word-engraved demonized generals were extremely powerful, pinnacle existences among legendaries. He was only confident of killing blade demonized generals among the word-engraved demonized generals. If he were to encounter a paper demonized general, death was certain, so there was no need for him to take the risk. Just as the two were prepared to leave, they saw the stocky demonized general riding over on a red horse with spear in hand. A few female students were too close to it and were about to be caught up by it. Sis. Li Xuan took a careful look and immediately, the color in his face drained. He summoned the jade-eyed white tiger and rushed over against the escaping crowd. Zhou Wen also saw Li Weiyang among the students being pursued by the demonized general. However, he did not rush over immediately. He was too far away and couldn't see clearly what the engraved word on the head was. If it was blade, he was confident that he could help Li Xuan rescue Li Weiyang. It was even possible to kill it in passing and he might obtain something good. However, if they had encountered a paper demonized general, Zhou Wen would only be sending himself to his death if he rushed over. It would be meaningless. Li Weiyang had the legendary companion beasts, Black Knight and Jade-Eyed White Tiger. Even if they weren't a match for the paper demonized general, they were enough to rescue Li Weiyang by sacrificing them. Isn't Li Xuan your friend? Why aren't you going to help him? Zhou Wen was trying to make out the word engraved on the demonized general's helmet when he heard a familiar voice. He turned around and saw Jing standing beside him with a deadpan expression. She had walked over at some point in time. Her tone had a clear hint of mockery. He glanced at her before ignoring her. He turned his head back to scrutinize the demonized general's helmet, trying hard to figure out what the word was. Although Zhou Wen was quite fond of Ouyang Lan, it did not mean that he had a favorable impression of everyone in the Yin family. At the very least, he didn't have a favorable impression of Jing and Tianzuo, so he didn't want to have any interaction with them. Zhou Wen wouldn't vent his anger on Ouyang Lan because of the Yin siblings, but he wouldn't extend his fondness to them just because of her. And Jing didn't say anything else. She also knew that it was unrealistic for a mortal stage student to fight a word-engraved demonized general. It wouldn't be a heroic act but a suicide. However, for some reason, Jing just found Zhou Wen a sore sight. Even if he did the right thing, she just couldn't help but poke fun at him. Although she said that Jing's eyes were peeled at the demonized general. She was prepared to summon her companion beast to engage it in combat. Firstly, it was because Jing wouldn't allow her fellow students to be killed by the demonized general, and secondly, the probability of a word-engraved demonized general's appearance was very low. Once it appeared, it became the target of the best students in school. The companion beast and essence energy skill that the word-engraved demonized general dropped were extremely rare and very useful. The companion beast needed no explanation. It was a legendary companion beast with exceptional strength and could even be of certain use in battles with epic creatures. It was a top-grade legendary companion beast that was extremely rare. The word-engraved demonized general's essence energy skill was also very useful. The paper demonized general's astral suction palm, the blade demonized general's astral slash blade, and the fist demonized general's astral fist were all rare top-grade essence energy skills among legendary ones. Astral suction palm could suck things across space. Astral slash blade had a blade beam that was as fast as lightning. Astral fist's explosive might was unparalleled. All of them were essence energy skills that legendary experts yearned for. Unfortunately, there were too few word-engraved demonized generals. The drop rate of companion beasts and essence energy skill crystals were just too low. It had been years since the discovery of the Tiger Cage past dimensional zone, but the number of people with word-engraved demonized general companion beasts and essence energy skills was few in number. Inside Sunset College, if one could possess a word-engraved demonized general companion beast or possess a word-engraved demonized general's essence energy skill, they would be envied by everyone. It was easy for Jing to get companion beasts and essence energy skills, but to obtain a word-engraved demonized general companion beast wasn't an easy endeavor. There were just too few of them, and there was practically none on the market for sale. Furthermore, a companion beast that dropped from one's kill gave one a better sense of achievement than buying one. Just as Jing was prepared to take action, she saw Zhou Wen suddenly dash forward like a released arrow as he headed straight for the word-engraved demonized general. And Jing was taken aback as she hurriedly rushed over. Although she found Zhou Wen a sore sight, she didn't wish to see him die here. She believed that she could easily catch up to him since she was already at the legendary stage while he was only at the mortal stage. However, shortly after she chased him, she saw Zhou Wen with 4 translucent silver wings behind his back. Instantly, his speed was elevated significantly and was in no way inferior to a legendary. He was even faster and prevented Jing from catching up to him. A legendary companion beast. And Jing was puzzled. Zhou Wen was only at the mortal stage, which usually meant the impossibility of incubating a legendary companion beast unless Zhou Wen cultivated in essence energy arts like the invincible Kanate divine art. However, Jing knew him pretty well. She knew that he only cultivated in ascetic meditation, which made it impossible for him to incubate a legendary companion beast at the mortal stage. Furthermore, she had never seen the companion beast he was using. This was quite astonishing to her, considering her background as a member of the illustrious In family. Even if he has a pinnacle legendary companion beast, it's impossible to fend against a word-engraved demonized general. And Jing knew how powerful they were, so she didn't stop and continued rushing forward. However, she didn't plan on overtaking him this time. She wanted to know how strong Zhou Wen currently was. She could take action when he was in danger. Zhou Wen didn't think too much. The moment he saw that the demonized general's helmet was a blade, he had rushed forward. Since he had the ability to help, there was no reason for him to idly stand by. Furthermore, word-engraved demonized generals had a low probability of spawning even in-game. Zhou Wen was already hoping to find a blade demonized general, so encountering one here was a boon. Just as Li Xuan had said, he had summoned the Jade-Eyed White Tiger and Black Knight to stop the demonized general, protecting Li Weiyang and the other girls as they retreated. The Black Knight rushed right in front of the demonized general and slammed forward by relying on its heavy armor. Bang! The demonized general's strange spear thrust out powerfully with roaring flames, stabbing the Black Knight's helmet right into the breastplate. Half of the Black Knight's body was slammed into the ground like a wooden column. Meanwhile, the Jade-Eyed White Tiger had leapt up, flashing its claws at the demonized general's neck. However, before it arrived in front of the demonized general, the left hand slashed out with a faint, thin blade beam, splitting the Jade-Eyed White Tiger into 2. Li Xuan felt his heart ache. Although legendary companion beasts weren't much to him, the Jade-Eyed White Tiger was quite a rare legendary companion beast, so finding a second one wasn't going to be easy. Article 90 of 1597. Chapter 90 Annihilating the General with one palm. After killing the Jade-Eyed White Tiger, the demonized general didn't cease at all. It raised the strange spear in its hand and the crescent-like side blades swept across the Black Knight's waist with terrifying flames. Half of the Black Knight's body was buried in the ground, and it was unable to move at all. If it was struck, it was likely to have its head separated from its body. Leave quickly. Li Xuan didn't have the luxury of time to moan over his companion beasts. The blade demonized general was just too fast and powerful. The speed at which it killed the Jade-Eyed White Tiger and Black Knight had far exceeded Li Xuan's expectations. If they didn't pull open a distance quickly, it would probably chase after them again. Suddenly, a figure flew over Li Xuan, arriving above the demonized general in a blink of an eye. Then, it was split into 2. Zhou Wen had summoned the silver-winged flying ant and was riding on its back, rushing straight for the demonized general's head. The demonized general waved its left hand, shining out a lightning-like blade beam that moved at an inconceivable speed. The instant it smashed down, the beam had arrived in front of the silver-winged flying ant. The silver-winged flying ant spread its four wings and phased away with silver, dreamy light. Its speed was instantly raised to a terrifying level, allowing it to dodge the demonized general's blade beam. And Jing, who was prepared to take action, was stunned. The blade demonized general's astral slash blade was famous for being fast, accurate, and mighty. Yet, that companion beast had managed to dodge it. It truly caught her by surprise. To have a non-avian companion beast that has a flight primordial energy skill is rather rare. And Jing stopped in her tracks as she watched the battle. When the demonized general missed the silver-winged flying ant with its blade, the strange spear in its hand swept flames up into the sky, hoping to sweep the silver-winged flying ant and Zhou Wen down. However, the silver-winged flying ant agilely changed directions in midair, dodging the demonized general's strike. At the same time, its stinger shot out magical needle at the demonized general's head. However, before it reached the demonized general, it was cleaved apart by the astral slash blade it sliced out with its left hand. Zhou Wen controlled the silver-winged flying ant as he battled the demonized general. Using its speed and flight capabilities and silver wing flash, he dodged all of the demonized general's attacks. Old Zhou, that companion beast is awesome. Where did you get it from? Help me get one in the future. Li Xuan's eyes glimmered as he slipped effortlessly into address Zhou Wen affectionately. To use speed to dodge the demonized general's attacks made the silver-winged flying ant a pinnacle speed-type companion beast. And Jing, Li Weiyang and company also noticed the value of the silver-winged flying ant, but Jing was able to figure out more. That strange flying ant is a top speed-type companion beast at the legendary stage, but to be able to dodge the blade demonized general's attacks so perfectly isn't something that can be done with speed alone. Zhou Wen's control and predictions are all excellent. And Jing didn't let her hatred for him affect her own judgment. She could tell how formidable Zhou Wen really was. With Zhou Wen fighting the demonized general, Li Xuan finally seized the opportunity to get the Black Knight to escape from the ground. Just as he was about to order it to help, he saw Zhou Wen jump off from the silver-winged flying ant's back. Holy shit, old Zhou, what are you trying to do? Li Xuan jumped in fright. For the mortal Zhou Wen to lunge at the demonized general looked no different from courting death. Li Weiyang and the other students had their hearts pounding nervously as though they were about to leap out of their chests. Even Jing's breathing sped up. From Jing's point of view, Zhou Wen's actions were too rash. Furthermore, there weren't any substantial effects. He was only at the mortal stage. With strength at the mortal stage, even if it was boosted by primordial energy skills, striking a demonized general's helmet probably didn't deal it much damage. Zhou Wen wore a stoic expression as his body rapidly plummeted. He swung his arm that had been enveloped by the skeleton bracer, striking straight at the top of the demonized general's head. This leap looked like a risky move, but in fact Zhou Wen had already simulated it hundreds of times in his head. Ever since he had fought the word engraved demonized general, he had been thinking of a way to kill them. The only possibility was to first kill the blade demonized general. As for the paper demonized general, he temporarily had no means of killing it. This leap had been calculated by Zhou Wen countless times before he deduced the opportunity. Back when the silver-winged flying ant kept flying, it had made the demonized general run through all its moves. Its primordial energy skills had all been used and it couldn't immediately use them again. All those powerful moves prevented it from instantly retaliating against Zhou Wen. Bang! Zhou Wen leapt down headfirst as his palm struck the demonized general's helmet. If it were only an ordinary mortal primordial energy skill, it wouldn't be able to tear through the helmet's defense with the skeleton bracer's augmentation. However, Zhou Wen's ashen palm at rank 10 was different. This was a palm with a cold, explosive might. It could generate a penetrative effect at short distances. Although this palm looked like it had smacked the helmet, its force had already penetrated into the demonized general's head, striking its brains. With the success of the attack, Zhou Wen pressed down on the demonized general's helmet and used the reactionary force to retreat several meters. The silver-winged flying ant was already waiting there for him as he somersaulted and landed on its back, his eyes staring intently at the demonized general. As he had never attempted it in-game, he wasn't sure of the effects of this palm strike. And Jing, Li Xuan, and the other students were also staring at the demonized general. They felt that the palm didn't seem to have much of an effect as there wasn't any mark on its helmet. But the next second, the demonized general looked up and spewed a mouthful of blood before collapsing from its horse. The red horse neighed as it exploded, scattering its flesh and blood everywhere. He had managed to slay a word engraved demonized general. When Jing saw the horse explode, she knew that the demonized general was definitely dead. Li Xuan yelled, "Did anyone do a recording? Did anyone record that battle? How long did he take?" The school's test missions required video proof. Although he didn't know how long Zhou Wen had taken, it didn't feel like he took more than 90 seconds. "I did," a girl beside Li Weiyang said meekly. The few of them had come to complete a test mission, so they had a video recording the entire time. They had also recorded the battle that had just finished. Li Weiyang got the girl to play the recording as they looked over. He had taken 79 seconds. "Old Zhou, you took 79 seconds to kill a word engraved demonized general. You are really awesome." Li Xuan yelled at Zhou Wen. Zhou Wen was in no mood to care about the numbers. He ran straight to the dead demonized general, hoping to find a dimensional crystal or companion egg from its corpse. Pulling apart the demonized general's helmet, he saw red and white fluids flow out. Amidst that was a resplendent object. Article 91 of 1597.